What if I told you that in 2026, thousands of Californians could suddenly be fined hundreds of dollars for things they do almost every day, often without even realizing they're breaking the law? It sounds unbelievable, but it's happening right now. New state and city regulations have quietly introduced stricter enforcement and shocking penalties for behaviors many people consider completely normal. From parking in the wrong spot for just a few minutes, to watering your lawn at the wrong time, to even how you throw away your trash, small mistakes can now lead to unexpected fines that quickly add up. Lawmakers say these rules are designed to improve safety, environmental protection, and public order, but many residents are discovering the hard way that these laws are far easier to violate than they appear. In today's video, we're revealing 10 everyday things people are doing in California that now carry surprising fines in 2026. Make sure you stay until number 1, because it's something millions of people do without thinking.
Number 1. Illegal trash dumping. Illegal trash dumping has become one of the most aggressively enforced violations under several new 2026 California regulations, and many residents are shocked to learn how easily they could get fined. Across many cities, authorities are cracking down on people who leave old furniture, broken appliances, construction debris, or large household items on sidewalks or empty lots without proper disposal arrangements. What used to be seen as a minor inconvenience for sanitation workers is now being treated as a serious violation because cities say illegal dumping creates environmental hazards, attracts pests, and increases neighborhood cleanup costs. Local governments have invested heavily in surveillance cameras and neighborhood reporting systems to identify people responsible for dumping waste in unauthorized areas. In some neighborhoods, cameras placed near alleys, dumpsters, and common dumping locations have already helped authorities issue fines to residents who thought no one was watching. Under the newer enforcement policies, fines for illegal dumping can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if the dumped materials include construction waste or hazardous items. Repeat violations may lead to additional penalties or cleanup fees that significantly increase the total cost. The safest approach is to always use official city bulk pickup services, recycling centers, or scheduled waste collection programs when disposing of large items. Many California cities offer free or low-cost pickup appointments for furniture and appliances, but residents must schedule these services before placing items outside. Taking a few minutes to check local disposal rules can prevent costly penalties and help keep neighborhoods cleaner and safer for everyone. If you made it this far, I want to hear from you. Which of these laws surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. We spend a lot of time researching and creating these videos for you, so please support the channel by subscribing. It only takes one click, and it helps us continue bringing you important updates like this.
Number 2. E-bike speed violations. Electric bikes have exploded in popularity across California over the past few years. But the rapid rise of these vehicles has also brought new safety concerns. In response, several cities and state regulators introduced stricter 2026 enforcement rules targeting e-bike speed violations and restricted riding zones. Many riders assume e-bikes are treated just like traditional bicycles, but the reality is very different. Certain classes of electric bikes are limited to specific speed ranges and are only allowed in designated lanes. Riding too fast in pedestrian areas, parks, or shared pathways can now lead to unexpected fines. Authorities say the crackdown is largely based on growing safety data. Studies from transportation agencies show that accidents involving high-speed e-bikes have increased in crowded urban areas where pedestrians, cyclists, and scooters share the same space. As a result, cities have begun installing more speed monitoring signs and increasing patrol enforcement in busy districts, beach paths, and public parks. Riders caught exceeding speed limits or operating high-powered e-bikes in restricted areas could face fines that start around $100 and may climb significantly higher for repeat violations. The best way to avoid these penalties is to understand the class of your e-bike in the areas where it is legally allowed to operate. Some paths allow only lower-speed electric bikes, while others restrict motorized bikes entirely. Paying attention to posted signs, speed limits, and local transportation guidelines can help riders enjoy the convenience of electric bikes without risking costly fines or safety issues for others sharing the road.
Number 3. Leaving pets in cars. Leaving pets inside vehicles has always been risky, but under several updated California enforcement rules in 2026, it can now lead to much faster penalties and serious fines. Many people assume that leaving a window slightly open or stepping away for just a few minutes is harmless. However, research from animal safety organizations shows that the temperature inside a parked vehicle can rise dangerously fast, even on days that don't feel extremely hot outside. Within minutes, the inside of a car can become life-threatening for pets, which is why authorities are treating these situations more seriously than ever. Animal control officers and local police departments are now responding more aggressively to reports of pets left unattended in vehicles. In some cases, bystanders are legally allowed to contact authorities or take emergency action if an animal appears to be in distress. Cities across California have increased enforcement after multiple studies showed that heat-related incidents involving animals inside vehicles happen far more frequently than most people realize. Under the strengthened rules, fines can reach several $100s, and in serious situations, the penalties can become much more severe if an animal's health is placed at risk. The safest solution is simple: never leave a pet unattended in a vehicle, even for a short errand. If you're running into a store, visiting a restaurant, or stopping somewhere briefly, it is far better to leave your pet at home or bring another person who can stay with them. A small decision like this can prevent both a costly fine and a dangerous situation for your pet, while also helping you stay on the right side of California's updated enforcement laws. If this information surprised you, I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Tell me in the comments whether you think these laws are fair or too strict. We put a lot of effort into researching these videos, so please support the channel by subscribing. It takes just one click and helps us keep bringing you updates that matter. Number 4. Illegal street vending. Street vending has become increasingly common across many California cities, but under several updated 2026 enforcement rules, selling food or products without the proper permits can now lead to significant fines. While street vending itself is legal in many areas, the key requirement is that vendors must follow specific local regulations, including obtaining health permits, business licenses, and location approvals. Many people start selling snacks, drinks, or small items in busy areas, believing it's a harmless side hustle. But authorities say operating without the correct paperwork is now being monitored much more closely. City officials argue that these regulations exist to protect public health, food safety, and fair business competition. Licensed vendors must follow strict health guidelines, especially when selling food, including sanitation requirements and inspections. Without these protections, cities say consumers could face risks related to food contamination or unsafe preparation practices. As a result, enforcement teams in several major cities have increased inspections in public areas, such as parks, beaches, and busy downtown streets. Vendors caught operating without proper permits may face fines that start around a few $100s and can increase significantly for repeated violations. For anyone interested in starting a street vending business, the safest path is to check the local city requirements before selling anything in public spaces. Most cities offer legal vendor permits, but they often require registration, small fees, and health safety approvals. Taking the time to complete these steps can prevent costly fines and allow vendors to operate legally while building a legitimate small business within their community. Number 5. Using phones while driving. Distracted driving has become one of the leading causes of road accidents, which is why California has strengthened enforcement of its hands-free driving laws in 2026. Many drivers still believe they can briefly hold their phone to check directions, respond to a quick message, or scroll through a notification while stopped at a light. However, under stricter enforcement rules, even holding your phone while operating a vehicle can now result in a citation.
Law enforcement officers are paying closer attention to drivers who appear distracted, and the penalties can apply even if the driver insists they were only using the phone for a moment. Transportation safety studies have repeatedly shown that taking your eyes off the road for even a few seconds dramatically increases the risk of accidents. Because of this growing concern, California officials have expanded public awareness campaigns and increased patrol enforcement in busy traffic areas. Drivers caught holding a phone while driving may receive fines that start around $150 or more, and repeat violations can result in higher penalties and points added to their driving record. In some cases, insurance companies may also raise premiums if distracted driving violations appear on a driver's history. The safest approach is to rely entirely on hands-free technology while driving. Mounting your phone on the dashboard, using voice commands, or setting navigation before starting the trip can help drivers stay compliant with the law while keeping their attention focused on the road. These small habits can prevent fines and, more importantly, reduce the chances of dangerous distractions that could lead to serious accidents.
Number 6. Blocking EV charging stations. With the rapid growth of electric vehicles across California, cities have begun enforcing stricter rules around EV charging station access. Many drivers still treat charging spaces like normal parking spots, especially when stations appear empty or when they believe they will only be parked for a few minutes. However, under expanded enforcement policies introduced in recent years and continuing into 2026, parking a gas-powered vehicle in a designated electric vehicle charging space is considered a violation. These spaces are reserved strictly for vehicles that are actively charging, and blocking them can disrupt drivers who rely on these stations during long trips or daily commutes. Local governments argue that protecting access to charging stations is necessary because California is rapidly transitioning toward electric transportation. Studies from transportation agencies show that access to reliable charging infrastructure plays a major role in supporting the shift away from gasoline-powered vehicles. As a result, enforcement officers in many cities are now monitoring charging locations more closely, especially in busy areas like shopping centers, public parking garages, and office districts. Drivers who park in EV-only charging spots without charging their vehicles may face fines that can reach $200 or more, depending on the city and whether the violation is repeated. To avoid these penalties, drivers should always pay attention to parking signs and markings around charging stations. Many charging spaces are clearly labeled with green paint or signage, indicating they are reserved for electric vehicles that are actively charging. If your car is not electric, or if your electric vehicle is not currently plugged in and charging, it is best to choose a regular parking spot. Being mindful of these rules helps ensure that charging stations remain available for the drivers who truly need them.
Number 7. Improper recycling. California has been tightening its environmental regulations for years, but in 2026, enforcement of recycling and composting rules has become much stricter, and many residents are still unaware of how serious these violations can be. One of the biggest issues cities are targeting is improper waste sorting. Throwing food scraps into regular trash, mixing recyclable materials with general waste, or ignoring compost bins may seem like small mistakes, but under newer regulations, these actions can now lead to fines. The state has been pushing aggressive waste reduction goals, and proper recycling is considered a key part of achieving those targets. Environmental agencies say studies show that a large percentage of recyclable and compostable materials still end up in landfills simply because people are unsure about how to separate their waste. To fix this, cities across California have expanded mandatory recycling programs that require households and businesses to sort their trash into separate bins for recycling, compost, and landfill waste. Waste collection companies are now working with local governments to monitor compliance, and in some cases, bins may even be inspected for improper sorting. If repeated violations are found, residents could face warnings followed by fines that can reach $100 or more, depending on the location and frequency of the offense. The best way to stay compliant is to learn the basic recycling and composting guidelines provided by your city.
Many municipalities offer online guides explaining exactly what belongs in each bin. Taking a few moments to sort waste correctly can help protect the environment while also preventing unexpected penalties under California's stricter waste management laws.
Number 8. Loud exhaust modifications. Vehicle modifications are popular across California, especially among car enthusiasts who enjoy customizing their vehicles for performance or sound. However, under stricter enforcement continuing into 2026, excessively loud exhaust systems have become a major focus for law enforcement. Many drivers install aftermarket exhaust kits believing they simply enhance the sound of their vehicle. But if the noise level exceeds the legal limits set by California regulations, the vehicle may be considered in violation of state noise laws. What surprises many drivers is that the rule applies not only to extreme modifications, but also to certain performance exhaust systems that were never properly certified for street use. Transportation and public health studies have shown that constant exposure to high levels of traffic noise can contribute to stress, sleep disturbances, and reduced quality of life in densely populated areas. Because of these findings, California agencies have increased monitoring of vehicle noise levels, particularly in urban areas where loud vehicles frequently pass through residential neighborhoods. Police officers now have clearer authority to stop vehicles suspected of violating noise limits, and drivers may be issued citations if their exhaust systems are found to exceed the allowed decibel levels. In some cases, fines can reach several $100s, and drivers may also be required to correct the modification before the vehicle can legally return to the road. Drivers who want to customize their vehicles should always make sure their modifications comply with California's vehicle noise standards. Choosing certified exhaust systems and avoiding illegal modifications can prevent expensive tickets, while still allowing drivers to enjoy their cars without violating state regulations.
Number 9. Excessive water use during drought alerts. Water conservation has become one of the most serious policy priorities in California, and under stricter 2026 drought enforcement measures, residents can now face fines for using water in ways that violate local conservation rules. Many people are used to watering their lawns, washing their driveways, or letting sprinklers run on a regular schedule. However, during drought alerts or water shortage periods, certain activities are either restricted or allowed only during specific hours. What surprises many residents is that even small actions, like letting sprinklers spray onto sidewalks or streets, can now trigger warnings or penalties. Environmental agencies argue that these restrictions are based on years of research, showing that California continues to face long-term water shortages due to climate conditions and population growth. To protect limited water supplies, many cities have introduced strict watering schedules and banned wasteful practices, such as hosing down sidewalks or washing vehicles without a shutoff nozzle. Water authorities are increasingly relying on neighborhood reports, digital monitoring systems, and enforcement officers to identify violations. In some areas, fines can start around $100 and increase to several $100s for repeated violations, especially if residents ignore multiple warnings. The easiest way to avoid these penalties is to follow your city's official watering schedule and use water-efficient irrigation systems whenever possible. Smart sprinklers, drip irrigation, and watering during approved hours can dramatically reduce water waste. By staying aware of local drought rules, residents can help conserve California's limited water resources while also avoiding unexpected fines that many people never see coming.
Number 10. Charging electric vehicles incorrectly. Electric vehicles are becoming increasingly common across California, but with this rapid growth has come a new set of rules that many drivers still don't fully understand. One issue cities are now focusing on is charging station misuse, especially when drivers leave their vehicles plugged in long after charging has finished. Many people treat public charging stations like regular parking spots, assuming it's fine to leave the car there while they shop, work, or run errands. However, under stricter enforcement policies continuing into 2026, this behavior can now lead to unexpected penalties. The problem is known as charging station idling. When a fully charged vehicle continues to occupy a charging space, it prevents other electric vehicle drivers from accessing the station. As the number of EVs on the road increases, cities and charging networks say this has become a growing problem, particularly in busy urban areas where charging stations are limited. To address this, several municipalities and charging providers have introduced idle fees and enforcement measures. In some locations, drivers who leave their vehicles connected after charging is complete may face fees or fines that can range from $50 to over $100, depending on how long the space remains blocked. To avoid these penalties, EV owners should monitor their charging sessions and move their vehicles as soon as the battery reaches full capacity. Many modern charging apps send notifications when charging is complete, making it easier for drivers to return and free up the station. Being mindful of charging etiquette not only prevents fines, but also helps ensure that public charging infrastructure remains accessible and efficient for everyone who depends on it. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these new 2026 California laws shocked you the most, and do you think these fines are fair or too extreme? Tell us in the comments because your opinions really matter to this community. If you found this video helpful, please support the channel. We put a lot of research and effort into every video, so take 1 second to like the video and subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us a lot. And don't leave yet. Watch the previous video on your screen right now, because it covers another major law change that millions of people still don't know about.